The pandemic-era public health immigration policy, Title 42, is officially no longer in place.
Joining us live now to discuss this topic and more is WSFA's Washington correspondent Peter Zampa. Peter, what are leaders saying now that it's expired?
Sally and Rosanna, our Washington bureau spoke to a White House official earlier today to kind of get a sense of what it's like on the ground right now. And they said there's no big tidal wave. There's no necessarily massive surge just coming across our border because Title 42 is gone. Really, it's at the same levels it's been at for a number of days now, which isn't like it's a low level. It's still a very high level, but there wasn't just some onslaught because Title 42 is gone. And Title 8 is now the law of the land. That's their backstop that they're using. And as we've been talking about all week, they're saying this border is not just open. You have to prove a credible fear to seek asylum. But seeking asylum is now a thing you can do again in this country on a more widespread basis. You just have to go through the proper channels. But they're trying to enforce harsher punishments for those not going through the proper channels to try to deter people from coming here unnecessarily. But again, you can seek asylum, and they are hearing those cases again. And for some of these folks who are awaiting their court date, or awaiting their asylum trials, they might have to wait a long time. And they mentioned capacity issues at the border and maybe having to release some of these people on a basis that they come back in 60 days or whatever it might be to go through their court date to have their asylum case heard. And now we should say, Sally and Rosanna, the state of Florida sued the federal government and sued their new policy about this parole policy, they're calling it, letting people out to await trial, to await their court dates. And so the Biden administration is saying this injunction on their new rule is harmful. They call it sabotage because every state knows the issues, the capacity issues that they're dealing with at the border. So now the Biden administration is having to deal with this surge at the end of Title 42 while also dealing with this internal court battle. They say they'll have a better picture of exactly what the end of Title 42 is doing to this country in the coming days, but they've got a lot going on, so we'll keep an eye on it.
Peter, a meeting scheduled for today between congressional leaders and President Joe Biden over the looming debt limit crisis was kicked to next week. Why was that delayed, and what's the latest on that debate?
I think there are two schools of thought when it comes to this postponement. One is that the staff level meetings that have been happening all week have not produced anything, and they don't want to have the leaders meet if they're just going to bang their heads on the wall and get nothing done. The other school of thought, which according to the White House is more likely, is that they have made a lot of progress, that they're bringing the two sides together and that they could produce something. It's just not quite there yet. So they want to kick it to early next week. The White House would not give us a date exactly, an exact schedule for when the meeting might take place. But if you look up at the principal level, they're all still seemingly in their same corners. You have the President of the United States saying he wants these conversations to be separate. The debt limit should be a clean raising, as it always has been in the past, not coinciding necessarily with budgetary cuts. But the White House is conceding that the budget conversation can be a separate one. Kevin McCarthy wants to make it clear that if the debt ceiling is raised, it's only because Republicans were able to achieve spending cuts. So he wants to combine them. The president doesn't. That could just be semantics in the end, as long as both sides get sort of what they think is a victory. We'll find out more next week when this meeting is officially rescheduled.
I know we'll be keeping a close eye on that. And as of right now, the president is meeting with the Spanish Prime Minister at the White House today. What is the purpose of this meeting?
Well, this is just another one of those bilateral meetings with a prime minister president from Spain, talking about their relationship, talking about their alliance that they have. And with all of these European leaders, the focus for the past year plus has been on Ukraine and the support for Ukraine, making sure they have what they need, making sure chiefly that all the European nations are still kind of in sidestep with the United States and with other allies, trying to make sure that there are no fractures. Because if these alliances start to fracture, that could give Vladimir Putin the opening he's looking for. So really to make sure that they're all rowing the same boat for the year plus. It's getting to be a long time for a lot of folks, this war. It continues to drag on. So making sure all of these alliances are really shored up is a big deal for the Western world and for the people of Ukraine, who continue to need that support.
Peter Zampa live in Washington, D.C. Peter, thank you so much for your time and insight.
Yeah, thank you.